Mexico is doing very well.
As we discussed earlier, it's not doing great.
All right, okay, let's see. They have the money. They will pay for the wall. They're sending drugs, and they're taking money out.
Yeah.
They're making a lot of money. Mexico's making a lot of money. And I'm a big fan of Mexico. I'm a huge fan of the Mexican people. I have thousands of Mexican people working for me right now and have over the years. But they have to pay for the wall, and we need the wall.
That was 2016 Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump talking about his brand new plan to tackle America's immigration problem. In addition to making Mexico pay for the border wall, well, Trump's multiple-page proposition details his policy proposals, which include tripling the number of ICE officers, enacting a nationwide E-Verify system, creating enhanced penalties for immigrants who overstay their visas, making the deportation of all criminal aliens mandatory, and ending birthright citizenship. Joining us now with reaction is news anchor for Fusion and Univision. Our friend Jorge Ramos is back with us. How are you, sir?
Fine, thank you. Thanks for inviting me again.
You know, first of all, Mexico, if you come from Central America, they either put you in jail or they send you out. Australia sends you out of the country. Anything that you disagree with in terms of his policy? Anything that's unfair in your view?
Well, I think everything about Donald Trump's immigration plan is wrong. It's not only wrong, but it is simply impossible to achieve. He cannot deport 11 million people. That's not doable. He wants to get into the business of deporting babies.
You say it's not
is
doable.
That is really what he wants to do? And it is completely absurd to build a wall when about 40% of all undocumented immigrants come by plane. So it is really impossible to do. It might play well in the polls. It might help him in New Hampshire and Iowa, but it simply is not going to work.
We are a nation of laws. People have entered this country. Many of them, there were 642,000 crimes committed in Texas, and I sat through the security briefing with Governor Rick Perry. 642,000 crimes, including nearly 3,000 murders by illegal immigrants against Texas residents since 2008. So we have a problem. And many people might want a job or a better opportunity for their family, but they got to come legally. And those that bring drugs into the country, and those that, even ISIS then, if people can come over because they want a job, so can ISIS. Why don't you join with the rest of the country and say it is imperative that we as a nation have an obligation to secure our border?
So why don't you join with the majority of Americans who believe that we need comprehensive immigration reform? You know, undocumented immigrants are coming to this country because there are thousands of American companies who hire them, and because there are millions of Americans, including you and me, who benefit from their work. And the idea that immigrants tend to be more criminals than the rest of the population is completely absurd.
Well, I did not say, Jorge, I did not say that.
Immigrants are less likely to be criminals than those born in the United States. Those are, according to the American Immigration Council. And the other one, immigrants as a whole have lower crime rates than the native-born population, according to the Immigration Policy Center. In other words, the concept, the argument that the vast majority of criminals I never made that argument. It's absolutely wrong.
I'm giving you the numbers as were given to me by
Mr. Trump is saying, saying that, and many people argue that that's the reason why we should not have immigration reform, and that's completely absurd.
We have 93 million Americans out of the labor force, 50 million Americans in poverty, 46 million Americans on food stamps. Now, I understand that the people of Mexico and El Salvador and Central America want the American dream. I'm all for an immigration system, but they've got to do it legally. They've got to respect our sovereignty. They've got to respect American law. That ought to be a prerequisite before anybody gets into the country. And you're defending illegal activity by people.
Every time an immigrant comes here, there's an American who's also committing a crime by hiring them. And we all benefit from their work. We have to understand that. And we're responsible for that. So
they're driving down wages. They're creating more competition.
It's very simple. It's an economic process, Sean. It's an economic process. The fact that they're coming here, it is not simply because they're criminals and they want to come to this country. They're coming here because there are jobs for them, and we need them here.
No, but there are also criminals coming too. There are a lot of people that want jobs.
Of course they do.
But there are a lot of people that also commit crimes here. There are a lot of people that transport drugs. There's a lot of human smuggling going on. It has become a great danger to Mexican citizens that are hiring these coyotes.
The vast majority, this is very important because Mr. Trump is saying something completely different. The vast majority of immigrants in this country are not criminals and are not rapists. They are contributing enormously to the economy of this country. The Congressional Budget Office recently, when they were considering legalizing 11 million undocumented immigrants, they said that in the first 10 years, immigrants would contribute more than $700 billion to the U.S. economy. Don't you want that? Of course.
Well, hang on.
The idea that we need a wall that...
Wait a minute. I'll answer your question.
Please go ahead.
You know what? We have 93 million Americans out of the labor force, 50 million in poverty. I would prefer that we get American citizens jobs first, and then we go about the business of reforming our immigration system. But the people we should allow in should not be the people that
immigrants are not taking those jobs,
that didn't respect our laws. I keep going back to this. You don't believe in the rule of law. You don't care about people that don't respect our laws. You don't care about American sovereignty.
I do believe in the rule of law, but we have to recognize that the fact that they are here, it's because there are thousands of American companies hiring them, and because there are Americans also breaking the law. So the only way to do that is not, as Mr. Trump is saying, deport them all. You cannot do that. What you have to do is to have immigration reform, comprehensive immigration. Are you going to deport 11 million undocumented immigrants? Are you going to do it by bus or by plane? Or are you planning to bring the army? Or are you going to be in the business of deporting babies, which is
it's a very emotional
exactly
argument,
what he wants. So
wait a minute, Jorge. That is what Mexico does. That is what Australia does. That is what a lot of countries do. America is the only dumb country that leaves its borders wide open, and it has transformed our economy.
No, I don't think so. I don't think I don't agree with that argument. It's not a dumb country. Quite the opposite. It's a great country.
It is
when in the Declaration of Independence you say all men are created equal. That's the whole point.
Okay. All men are created equal, but we're a nation of laws. Our Constitution is our rule of law. The amount of money border states have had to pay for our criminal justice system, our healthcare system, our educational system, to take care of those people that did not respect our laws and sovereignty, that you are defending this law breaking, is astronomical and in the billions.
Immigrants contribute a lot with taxes, creating jobs.
A lot of people don't pay taxes because they're not in the system.
Billions of dollars in economic profits.
But a lot of people don't pay taxes because they're not in the system.
The fact is that, no, they do pay taxes.
No.
The fact, not only that, is taxation without representation, because many of them are paying taxes.
They're not citizens.
Many of them are putting billions of dollars in the Social Security system, and they simply can't benefit from that. But let me just go back to what point that you made. Are you serious when you're talking about deporting 11 million
I am saying that
can you imagine the massive human rights violations that would create?
No, I'm not talking.
I mean, is that possible,
Jorge,
Jorge,
I believe.
Are you going to separate families? Are you going to go to the hospitals and take the babies and then send them to the airport?
You mentioned babies 3 times now. I understand your emotional argument, but I will tell you this. I'm for the rule of law. And the people that didn't respect our laws.
We're all for the rule of law. So
can I finish? Didn't respect our laws.
But let's create a rule of law, including those who are already here. We have to do something about that. We have to do something about that. So what Mr. Trump is proposing, it isn't going to work. It is
okay, so you support law breaking. You've answered my question. You support rewarding the law breaking of those people.
No, of course I do not, but
sure
it is hypocritical.
If they get to stay, then we reward law breaking.
That you want the rule of law, and at the same time, the American system, the American immigration system is so broken that everyone is breaking the law in this country, and we have to recognize that we are responsible.
So-called
and the other
anchor babies.
In order to react to that, we have to go ahead with comprehensive immigration reform. That's the only way.
You keep repeating it.
Again, babies.
No, there's another way.
We can build a wall.
We can stop illegal immigration.
That is not the American way.
We can build a wall. We can stop illegal immigration, and we can give the highly coveted positions that we have in this country available to those people that have the most to contribute and those that respect our laws and sovereignty. There is another alternative, not just the one you say. There's plenty of alternatives. And I've got to tell you something. The American taxpayers have paid billions and billions to bear the burden of cost for illegal immigrants, and you don't care about taking their money as people have.
Of course I do. I mean, I talk with immigrants every single day. But the idea, what you just proposed, building a wall,
that's right.
It really doesn't make any sense.
Makes plenty of sense. Stop them from coming in.
Are you going to do it right at the border with Mexico? But how about the 5,000 miles between the U.S. and Canada? So clearly the problem it seems to be with Mexicans, not with Canadians.
Well, that's where the bigger problem is. But I would also do it up there.
Beautiful wall, right? 2,000 miles.
I would take the 93 million Americans out of the labor force and I'd hire them first.
And then, what a waste of money and time. What a waste of money and time. Mr. Trump says he's a businessman.
If we stop
40% of immigrants come by plane and they overstay their visa. So it doesn't matter how long and how tall the wall is going to be.
You're wrong.
Immigrants are going to keep on coming. So
no.
a wall is not a solution.
I believe it is, and I believe it would work, and we won't know till we try.
Let me give you another number. Let me give another number. You're so concerned about Mexicans coming here, right?
I don't have enough. I don't have enough time. We'll bring you back, Jorge.
More Chinese are coming than Mexicans. More Chinese immigrants are coming than Mexicans.